Hi everyone, I'm super excited to share with you very interesting revelation, a connection between two huge ideas. Well, once you understand this analogy, you will be able to see and to calculate and to understand how you can increase your personal power, literally very in a very precise way. You understand how your power can be, you can increase actually the awareness about the power that you already have, because you cannot actually increase your power. Why? Because your power is already infinite. You have an infinite power. Why you have an infinite power? Because everything in life is made out of consciousness, of the same consciousness, which expresses itself in a different way. And because of that, everything is interconnected. It's linked between each other. Everything with anything else. And because of that, when you make the single move in your life, no matter what move, positive or negative, you affect the entire existence. Not just this universe, which is a very small part of the existence, but you affect the entire life. Okay, so this is why your power is infinite, because the same way in the watch there is a small circles that they're linked, and when you move the smallest one, all others also start to rotate. This is how we are interconnected, and that's why your power is infinite, because any move you make, the entire existence is moving together with you. Now, in order to be more aware about this power that you already have, there is certain things that can be useful to know. Now, we're going to connect here two ideas that have each three components. From the right hand, we have the ideas that is mentioned and it's shared from Bashar, which is extraterrestrial, that it shared information with us for the last 34 years, and he touched all the topics probably you can imagine. And this is the three-step formula that it's representing the entire knowledge of or wisdom, all the cosmic laws that they're permanent, they are embedded inside this three-step formula. It's the only thing we actually need to know, because once we follow this three-step formula, we can create synchronicity, and all the knowledge that is relevant for us unfold in the perfect moment, in the perfect timing. Now, this three-step formula, which Bashar shared with us, it's simply the first step is to follow our heart, to follow our impulse, our excitement, our intuition. Okay, to follow this impulse that comes from our heart. The second one is to do it to the best of our ability, the best we can, or to use the mind to the best possible way to implement this impulse which we have in our heart. That's how the mind and the heart, they are merging together. The heart is leading, it's showing in which direction we can go, and the mind it's implementing, because the mind know already what you have in the physical reality, how you can use it, and start to implementing. So the heart is leading and the mind is following, doing his best to implement this impulse and to materialize it in the physical reality. And the third component of this idea is to have no expectations or assumptions how the things will unfold in our life. Okay, this is the three-step formula which when we follow, we create synchronicities, we receive all the things that are the most relevant for us to experience and to know, and we activate kit that I'm not going to talk about this video, but this is basically the only three things we need to know in order to live in harmony with life, in the harmony with ourselves, because we are one and the same. Now, from the other hand, we have another one big idea which is discovered from George Ohm about approximately 200 years ago in 1827. He discovered that there is very interesting relationship or triangulation between three components: the voltage, the amperage, and also the resistance of the wire. I know that for some of you may sound complicated, but the electricity is something that we use in our daily life every single day. And some of us, we don't even know what actually is electricity. And I would like to share it with you in a very simple way so you can understand it. Because in order to understand any complex idea or idea that look complicated or complex, you need to understand the core. And the core of everything has three components always. You will understand that it always has three components. It's positive, negative, and neutral. The combination from these three components. So what is electricity? Well, in our tangible world, we have materials, and all materials, they have molecules. For example, the water, the molecule of the water have two hydrogens, and one oxygen. So those molecules, they are created from atoms. The atoms, it's from Greek atomos, something that cannot be divided. That's why also we can call them elements. Elements of the periodic table in the chemistry, it's full with different elements. Okay, so those elements or those atoms, they have another three components inside. And those are electrons, neutrons, and protons. Electrons are negative, protons are positive. Neutrons are in the middle, neutral. Very simple to understand. So some of those atoms, first of all of those atoms, in a sense, in the very core of them, they contain the neutrons and the protons. And the electrons are the ones that are circling around the same way like our Earth is moving around the sun. Those are the electrons moving, and they creating outside shells. It can be one or two or three different shells of electrons moving around the nuclear core. And the nuclear core is created from neutrons and from protons. Now, the different atoms has different relation and different ratio between those three components, but the copper, for example, or other materials like the copper, have the ability to transfer electrons from one to the other atom very quickly. Okay, and this is because the copper has one electron in the outside, in the last shell, has a single electron. And this single electron, because it's only one, it's not connected, it can travel easy from place to place randomly. Okay, but if we put pressure from one side, the pressure, we can call it a voltage. Okay, thus then those electrons, they start to move in a specific direction. Okay, imagine the copper wire like a pipe through which water is moving, and we put pressure from one side, and those electrons, they start to jump from atom to atom, from atom to atom. They start to move in a specific direction with specific pressure. This pressure we can call voltage. Now, if you cut the wire in one place, you will see that for 1 second, specific numbers of electrons, they will move through it. This we call current, or we measure it with amperes. We can call it amperage. How many actually electrons they will move from a specific period of time? How much work actually we're going to see here. Okay, and the third component is the resistance of the wire. The wire can be built out of copper, which has very low resistance. It can be built out of aluminum, that has about 30% more resistance. It can be built out of stainless steel or something else that has higher resistance. Okay, so George Ohm realized that there is a relationship between these three components: the voltage, the pressure, the amperage, and the resistance. And we use this idea to calculate the power in the electricity, which we measure with watts. Okay, so how we calculate the watts? It's simply, let's say we have 5 voltage, pressure equal 5, okay, and we have 5 amperes here, Okay, so we multiply 5, multiply the amperage to the voltage, and we have 25 watts. And when we divide this on the resistance, because there is also resistance in the wire, let's say the resistance is 0.5 ohms. When we divide this, we have the actual power supply, or we can call watts, how many watts of power we have. So this is how we calculate the electricity, the power supply. Now, how these two ideas, they are connected. Okay, the voltage, or the pressure from Bashar formula, it's actually the impulse from our heart. When we have an impulse from when we are excited about specific idea, this impulse is coming from the higher mind, and the higher mind is conducting this impulse from the oversoul. The oversoul receive this impulse from the one, from the life itself, from the very core of the existence. Okay, so we receive information from what we call all that is, or what we call God. When we are excited to do something, we receive information from the source. This information is coming from the source, and this is, in a sense, pushing us in a specific directions to take a specific actions. Okay, maybe you want to make a YouTube video, maybe you want to start a business, maybe you want to make a song or to write a book. If you feel it with your heart, this means that this is actually information and energy that coming from the source and want to be expressed through you. Okay, so we can call that following your excitement. Actually, this is the voltage, because it gives us an impulse. It gives us, in a sense, pressure in the positive way, push us in a certain direction in our life. From the other hand, if we do not contain a negative beliefs, and we allow ourselves to take physical actions and to ground this impulse in our life, we start to be productive, we start to act and take specific actions. And as much actions we take, as much things we can produce. This is actually the amperage. This is the current in the Ohms formula. So how many things we're going to be done today from us according to that impulse, it's how much amperage we have. Okay, and the resistance in the Ohm formula is expressed through the third component of Bashar formula, which is do not have an expectations or insistence of the outcome. Insistence, when we have an insistence how the things should unfold, the insistence is the mother of resistance. The insistence creates resistance. This is judgment, in a sense, of the things, how the things will unfold, because we are focused in a specific way and we insist to be in that way, and we close thousands and millions of doors that actually the things can unfold in a more synchronistic way. So to not have an insistence, it's actually equal to not have any resistance and to be super conductive. Okay, so if we don't have any insistence in our life, if we appreciate and accept all the things that happening in our life without judgment, and if we do our best in our life to follow this impulse, but we do not expect a specific result in a specific way, in a specific time, and we do not have a resistance. And because we don't have a resistance, we can continue to do what we love, and we can continue to build this momentum and to conduct more electricity, more current through our bodies and our minds and our soul. So we become more aware about the power that we already have, the infinite power that we already have. We become more aware. So this is basically how those two ideas, they relate. We have the voltage, which is the impulse, and when we follow this impulse, when we follow this direction, when we act upon this and literally ground it with physical actions, we produce more results. Okay, that's why in the Bible they say you will recognize them by their fruits, by the actions that they take. So once we start implementing more and more and more, we increase the amperage. And the reason why so many people they feel burnt out and depressed in a sense in life is because probably they have an impulse to do something, to write a book or to sing a song or to express themselves in a creative manner, but they have so much expectations and assumptions and judgment about how the things that will unfold. This create a resistance. Okay, and when the resistance in the wire is too big, the electricity cannot flow. Okay, it cannot flow, it cannot reach to the other end, it cannot be expressed. If you put plenty of electricity, or if you have very, very strong impulse to do this, but at the same time you have a huge resistance or insistence, thus then it will create heat in the wire. It will melt. You will feel that your body, like a conduit, it will start to not experience it in a pleasant way, because like the wire can be melted when the huge current passes through and there is a huge resistance, there is a lot of friction inside the wire, and the wire it can melt and can explode the system. So that's why one of the most important thing for us to understand is that once we do not have an assumption or expectation how the things will unfold, how the things going to look like, this can allow us to take more actions, to feel more inspired, and to continue what we love to do. And the power slowly by itself, it will be amplified and magnified because we don't have this resistance inside. Even if we have the smallest impulse, once it's going through, once we become once we allow ourselves to express it, it will naturally grow if we don't have an insistence and we don't have a resistance. It's very, very important for us to understand, and it's very easy to understand probably once we have this analogy. And thus then we become more aware. We act through our passion, according to our passion, we do it to the best of we can, and also we enjoy any kind of results, and we become more aware about the infinite power that we already have. I hope this it can maybe help you to use it in the positive way if you can. I hope you understand it. If you don't, you can ask the component which you don't understand in the comments below. And in the next video, I will start to share more revelation and more interesting idea that I discover, because basically what I'm doing right now, it's again 3 different things. The first one is to learn, to absorb more knowledge. The second one is to implement it, because as much I implement, more insights they come through. And the third one is to share it with you, or in a sense to give it away. So in the next video, we're going to talk about the space-time antenna. I'm going to show you what I discover about the two cones that they intersect each other and why they are actually need to be in the tetrahedron. It's very interesting. Now, I want to wish you to have one amazing day. I want to wish you to increase the awareness about the infinite power that you already have. And if you have any impulse, anything that excites you, you are free to follow it to the best of your ability, and you are free to have no expectations because you don't really know how the things will unfold. Thank you for watching, and I wish you to have an amazing day.